Hello, Pyramid Energy. Let's do a reading. The reading I feel called to do, as I'm holding the cards, is to do a look into your relationship with yourself. I'm finding that as we build momentum with certain things in our lives, this sets other things in motion and brings up new emotions as well. I believe this is just the nature of change. What brought me to this reading is this movement in my solar plexus, a discomfort. I want to call it anxiety, but I didn't want to put a label on it without just looking into the cards, because it feels unknown. It feels unknown. At the bottom of the deck, I have the King of Pentacles, which confirms this solar plexus energy. And this card is the one I'm going to lay down for, this underlying energy, what's underlying this feeling. In terms of how you're showing up for yourself, I have you here in the World, the Page of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles. This is you taking time. You're actually working quite hard at this, trying to figure out how to close certain cycles in your life. You want to do this correctly. You want to do this with a sense of collaboration. And this 21 and this 3 is, and even the page, makes me feel like it brings the number 7 forward, and it makes me feel like you feel like it's time to do this now. It's time to get to the bottom of this. It's time to figure out how you're going to close these certain cycles. You haven't really involved anyone else in this, I'll call it investigation, a very internal process that's very much going to affect other people. But 2-3-2-3-2. But you need to do this to close these cycles or this cycle, because your opportunities rely on some of these decisions. And there's also an awareness here. I've got the Page of Pentacles, the 7 of Swords, and the 4 of Cups. There is an awareness here that there will be people that are disappointed. When I look at the World card and the Page of Pentacles, both of these people are standing on one of their feet. So there's this feeling that you are balancing a tightrope. And that, not that you need to be stealthy, but that you need to move with grace, with care. But your number one responsibility is to be diligent unto yourself. I just got this really strange image. One of those gymnastics, those big bars. I don't know if they're still made like this, but they usually were covered in like leather and quite thick. But here I'm imagining you doing gymnastics underwater. And what has to happen is that you're on this side of the water and you need to get to the other side. And so there's air where you are, but you know that the only way to get to the other side of this bar is to take a deep breath in, hold your breath, and swim under this bar to come out on the other side. And on the other side, that's when you're going to be able to really catch your proper breath and breathe and feel this sense of freedom. But you're preparing yourself to do that big swim under this bar, under the water. And so it's as if I'm speaking to someone who's used to doing gymnastics. Someone who's used to doing gymnastics. But this time, the circumstances are different to the other times you've practiced. And as if this deep move through the water, there'll be no air for a while. It's like that. There'll be no air for a while, not a sense of suffocation, just a sense of pushing through. And this prolonged but temporary experience. There are a number of relationships that you're ending right now. And when I say relationships you're ending, I'm looking at relationships with yourself. Okay? So ways of running your life and your experiences that you've held for a long time have created not cords, but connections in your world that are allowed to be governed a certain way. And so these changes that you're making that are going to affect other people, you're not just ending relationships with other people. You are in the process of transforming how you show up for yourself through these endings. And so the way I want to put this is relationship X. Once you have moved through this relationship and ended it and taken that last breath and swum under the water, swum, that word doesn't exist. But once you've made it through this water, this one last time, this is the absolute last time you're ever going to find yourself in a relationship that asks this of you. And I'm picturing you never doing gymnastics underwater again. I'm picturing you, once you get to the other side, I'm picturing you doing your gymnastics like out in the open, completely like showing your skills, your moves, everything, without feeling like you have to hold your breath and hide anything. This reading feels, it feels like we are pulling from deep. In your overarching energy here, I've got you in the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. And so these are opportunities that you're very much aware of, an opportunity to grasp something that is within your reach. It's literally within your hands, but it sits in the form of, at the moment, it sits in the form of love, value, and opportunity. It's up to you to bring these things to life. It's up to you. Nobody else can bring these things to life for you. Okay, and now this solar plexus energy, this underarching energy here, like I mentioned before, the King of Pentacles has the Judgment card next to it. And so these are decisions that are sitting on you. And I believe this is also why I felt like this needed to be a reading on your relationship with yourself. Because we often make decisions, okay, because people pleasing came up earlier. We often make decisions taking into account how they'll affect everyone. We seldom look at ourselves first. We seldom look at ourselves first. And this is not to say there's been a regression here. This is rather to say, again, these particular relationships have been run this way, and in order to get out of them, they almost need to be handled semi according to how this paradigm works, how this space in your life works. You know, because there is a reluctance here to incur like unnecessary karma. In terms of how you're feeling, I've got you here in the Sun with the Four of Swords, the Four of Wands with the Six of Cups, and the Page of Cups with the Seven of Pentacles. And so already here in the middle, the Four of Wands is this is your joy, this is your celebration, this is things coming together for you, this is you feeling things coming together for you. But then the Karma card, I always see the Six of Cups as a Karma card that says, what I give out is what I get back. And so there's this awareness that your joy and your celebration of your own personal karma may carry repercussions. And, repercussions is such a, I hope you understand what I mean. But essentially, they'll carry a reaction. And so that's partly why you're moving through this so carefully. That said, the Sun in the Four of Swords tells me there is absolutely no stopping you from recognizing, realizing, and bringing to life what you know is meant for you, and this life that you want. You've seen the sun, and this is not something that you can fight. And so it's like your new reality has arrived, and now there is some serious life admin to take care of. When I look at this Page of Cups with the Seven of Pentacles, the Page of Cups is like a humble offer. A humble offer of love. It's all of its potential sits in love. And it's got this cup with a little piggy flying, hovering over it. And this man's feet are in the air. So he's sitting, he feels like he's stable, but his feet are in the air, which makes me feel like this is something that you feel is going to be hard to explain, hard to justify, only you understand. I'm seeing someone between two worlds. Yet, with that said, you feel grounded because you know exactly what you've planted in the ground, and you know what's to come. You know what's to come. But there's also like this strange feeling around, I do not know how, and I should not have to explain what it is I've planted under this soil. That is for me to know and you to find out. I mean, I'm serious. This is, you are under no obligation to explain why you're making your decisions the way you're making them. I'm picking it up here in your feelings, and this is what's causing this anxiety, because this middle section is what I asked to show us how you're feeling, how you're feeling inside, not so much how you're showing up, but how you're feeling. So this is all the anxiety you're carrying. You know what you want, you're afraid of repercussions, and you don't know how to explain, or you're just grappling with this, how do I explain why I have to go. I was about to go into the bottom line here. I quite like that, the bottom line, because the bottom line is actually just the point. And that line represents what is actually happening, 1333. What is actually taking place here. Why we feel like this, where we are. And the card that's on the top of the deck just fell out of my hands and fell upside down, and it's the Nine of Cups. And I believe this is to say that the Nine of Cups in reverse is like, this is your independence that's at stake. And so this feels like a reality check, because we're not talking about you once you put how is this going to affect everyone on the scale against, on the other side of the scale, your independence. It's very clear that your independence is of greater value, greater importance, and holds way more weight than anything else here. And something else is coming up for me. We are often only aware, and sometimes I want to say over aware of how we over emphasize other people's reliance on us. What I mean by this is we carry the weight of other people's positions. We think that what we do is what affects others. I want to turn that around and bring to your awareness that, just as we have things coming into our lives, other people have things coming into theirs. That's not on you. That's not on you. And so what needs to happen is that you need to go back to really looking truthfully at what your true obligations are. You are not obligated any further than your actual obligations. And so if you have to sit and write down what are your obligations, you'll look at this list of obligations and you'll recognize that you've overextended yourself. And some of these obligations are not true, they're not real. And so what we want to do is strip everything that is not real and come back down to what is real and what is an obligation, and honor that. And beyond that, your only other obligation is to honor yourself. This bottom line here confirms pretty much everything that I have said here. I've got the Ace of Wands with the High Priestess. So this is to confirm that you know exactly how you feel very passionately about this. This is a lot of aces. The Ace of, I was looking for the Ace of Swords. All of the aces are here. All of the aces are here. And so this is a great sense of opportunity. It's like you, within all this air that you currently have, that's where you're able to grasp all of the information you need before you take this deep breath and do this dive and come out on the other side. The Ace of Swords is sitting with the King of Swords. And so this is very much around being honest and, forthright. And that doesn't mean be overly honest like you just need to be clear on your truth and hold fast on your truth and give as much information as is needed and is necessary and not more. The Four of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles is here as well. As I was shuffling for clarity, I actually heard this is what we call a mountain out of a molehill. And this is not to make small out of anything, because I believe that, a lot of these things, we need to work through them. We need to work through them. The option of flying over this bar, as I've called it, I don't know what it's called, is not available, because I think maybe you've sat for a while trying to jump over and it's not working. And so now we've got to really look at this. The Ten of Wands also fell out upside down. And right next to the Four of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles, this is holding close what matters to you and what is of value to you. And what's delaying here is weighing this up, like trying to decide how to do it. And this card, the Ten of Wands, is telling me a lot of this is not your burden. A lot of this is just not your burden. On the upside, this is the last time you're going to be doing this. This is the last time you're going to be doing this. The Two of Swords popped up for me, and this makes me want to look at your blind spot. And I got the Nine of Swords and the Fool and the Sun. Sure. This is all fear, because the next question I was going to ask is, Nine of Swords is fear. What are you scared of? You are scared of new beginnings, and you are scared of actually realizing your greatest joy. Okay, so the Fool, behind the Fool is the King of Wands, the High Priestess, Ace of Wands. This is the fear of self-reliance. So it's all going to be on you. Okay, it's all going to be on you. And the Sun is behind the Sun is the Six of, sorry, I almost said the Six of Lovers. The Lovers card and the Six of Cups and the Four of Wands. This is you finally living in a space, the space you've always wanted to live in, where you feel like you're finally in a relationship where there's equal give and take. You put out and you receive. And through your choices, through things that make you happy. And I looked into this this slip of the tongue that I had, the 6 of Lovers, as I was shuffling, and 6 is a number of karma. 6 is the number of karma. And so I asked, why is the karma of choices so difficult? And the card that I got here, at the top I got the Queen of Pentacles, and at the bottom I got the Judgment. And this says to me, it is difficult because it asks you to put yourself above everything else. Clarity for the Queen of Pentacles, the 2 of Cups, and the Chariot. This is to put yourself and what you love above everything else, and to get on your chariot quickly and follow your choices. Knight of Wands and the Lovers again. Behind the Judgment, I've got the High Priestess and the 9 of Pentacles. And then it goes to the Page of Wands, 4 of Wands. And so you know exactly what this decision is going to bring you. And I feel like I need to ask you, do you remember? And by the way, the whole background of this reading, even when I was shuffling from the beginning, I kept hearing Leo, Leo, Leo. This has happened before in another reading. I don't believe it means that this reading is for a Leo, but I feel like it's calling the courage out of you. It's calling the lion inside of you to come out and protect you, and to have the courage to protect yourself and to go find your place in the sun. But I'm being asked to ask you here, do you remember the last time you made a big decision that was going to, the biggest decision you've ever made probably, that was going to affect others, but that you had to take, not knowing what the future would bring, but knowing that staying where you are was going to make you very unhappy, keep you unhappy, not serve you and not serve anyone else. Do you remember that time? And now I want you to fast forward to where you are now, because that's the decision that you made that brought you to where you are now. And so they're asking you to call on that courage, that fear of whatever repercussions or whatever. That is, it's like, it reminds me of the devil, and the devil's come up straight after the 4 of Wands here. It's that confusion. It's that confusion that comes to slow you down. It's the doubt. The opposite of courage is doubt. I think. I don't believe the opposite of courage is necessarily always fear. I suppose fear is a form of, doubt is a form of fear. So yes, in this case, the opposite of courage is doubt. And so this is, the lion is roaring and it's saying, let's go. Come, let's go. I've got you. I've got your back. Nobody said it was going to be easy. They only said it was going to be worth it. I'm going to close this off with an oracle card. I pulled out this Ask Your Guides deck, and the first card that jumped out is Bravado. I didn't even shuffle. Okay. It says here, card number 41, rebellion, liberation, courage, resistance, which for me sums up what we've been talking about. Does everything inside you rebel against authority, making you want to scream, "You can't control me"? If so, it's true. No one can control you unless you agree to it. The fact that you don't allow others to control you anymore is a sign of progress. It means that you're moving away from a world of dependency and are claiming your personal authority as a self-directed, conscious soul ready to take responsibility for yourself. Challenging the authority figures in your life is a necessary step in your growth. However, you must realize that not everyone or everything in your path is necessarily working against you. Ask your warrior guides for the courage to challenge what oppresses you and for the wisdom to know when to respect authority. Your warrior guides' message: stand up for what's important to you and ask for it. However, don't fight for its own sake. Respect the leadership and rights of others as well. I feel like that really confirms what was said earlier about not going further than your obligations, because you don't want to not fulfill your obligations. And that's where you'd pick up karma. What you want to do is just not look any further than your obligations. You're only responsible for what you're responsible for. And in fact, looking further than your obligations has its own karma. I've also pulled this card, New Life, Divine Mother, Conception, Pregnancy, Children, Birth. Whether you're a man or a woman, your feminine, earthy side is in full bloom. The wishes, dreams, and desires you've carried in your heart are now gestating in the divine womb and are coming into fruition. If you're a woman, this signals a time of conception, pregnancy, and birth. If you're a man, this is a time for your creativity to take form in the world. If you're married or partnered, this may signal that children are on the way. Whatever you seek to create, it's happening. The song in your heart will find its voice. The poetry will be expressed. Even your professional goals will find a new home in which to grow. The Divine Mother, the fertile aspect of the Divine Feminine, is gracing your life right now, and with her influence, your artistic and creative expression comes alive. If you've been feeling sterile, stagnant, and too controlled, she's here to loosen things up and get your creative juices flowing. Surrender your mind and allow your soul to come alive in her embrace. She is with you, and her influence is powerful. Her message, new life, is on its way. You know, this picture of a new baby just reminds me how when a new baby is on its way, you know, you can't dictate the timing or anything, and everyone's just willing to make space for it. Some of the decisions are hard. In a very simple way, you think about, you know, if the baby's going to have its own room, one of the rooms needs to be converted to accommodate this baby. A room in your life needs to be made. Something has to go. Okay, so the baby's coming. I pulled 3 Moonology cards. I have Disseminating Moon, take time to breathe out. I have Work Through Your Fears, New Moon in Scorpio. This is death. This is allowing things to die that no longer serve you. And your commitment is being tested, first quarter moon. And, you know, especially for the last card, what I wanted to know was what is unseen still. And that's it. Your commitment is being tested. This is your commitment to yourself. And so I want to close this off by just saying, you know, this is like ripping a Band-Aid off. It's always going to sting. But to take it off slowly is just going to prolong the pain. This is like, just rip the Band-Aid off. It needs to come off for the healing to happen. It needs to come off its time. I also feel like that was an intense energy to transmute. And I feel very differently now than I did when I opened this reading. I was sitting with a lot of anxiety in my stomach. It was dense, and it needed more than words. It needed some serious processing. And I feel like that has happened. Sending you love. If you're interested in a personal reading from me, I've left my details below in the description box.